Hello everyone, Neil Tappin here from Golf Monthly, and welcome to this video in which we're going to be taking a look at the Honma range of golf clubs for 2019. I'm sure you're aware that at the beginning of the year Honma signed Justin Rose to use their clubs, and this was a huge statement from a brand that not that many golfers out there will have been terribly familiar with, even though Honma have been around making golf clubs for many years. Now in this video what we're going to do is we're going to run through a fitting for the new driver and the new irons, because Honma are promising to do things slightly differently to those other premium brands that you'll be familiar with, and that's what we wanted to find out about in this video. If you are interested, we will have full reviews of the driver and the irons coming soon, so keep your eyes peeled for those. But in this video we're going to focus on Honma as a brand and see what they have to offer. Let's get started.
Honma is very much about the craftsmanship that's involved with making golf clubs. So for example, 60 years this year is how long the business has been running. The biggest difference I would say is for sure the craftsmanship that's involved with how we build our products, and the advantage of everything pretty much being handmade, especially our graphite shafts, is tolerance levels can be so much tighter, meaning that if you order something in a certain loft and a certain weight and a certain flex, you can trust that it's going to be really close to that spec when it arrives. Your palm of your hand on top of the club head there. So this is how we make our adjustments. So if I twist that around,
oh yeah,
can you feel the club head moving?
I can.
So as I change this and move this around, we're changing face angle, lie angle, loft. But you notice how when we change it, the shaft's staying in the same position.
That's really strange.
It's really cool, isn't it?
Yeah. And
then all you do, once you find your setting, you just then put this in here, and then that's when you tighten it. And then it will just click like all the others.
So halfway through the fitting, this is the T-World 747 driver. My first proper look at it today, and that's it. This is the same driver that's being used by Justin Rose out on tour. There's also a 455cc version, which is only obviously 5cc's difference. You might not think it's an awful lot, but actually, looking down on it at address, I can say there is a bit of a difference between the two drivers. But what do you think? Leave some comments below. Okay, so fitting done, and it's a really interesting experience actually running through that whole process and seeing exactly how Honma do it. And I think if you want to get a feel for what Honma are and what they do, a good starting point is just to take a look at all of their golf clubs, take a look at the range as a whole. Now the driver that I was fitted for is the T-World 747 460cc version, and the look from the sort of shelf appeal look, as it were, that you can see here, very simple, very classic, not too much sort of what I would describe as visible technology that's distracting. It's very simple, and it's the same story down behind the ball at address. And that's important because what Honma are offering golfers is a high level of performance based on the quality and the sort of hand craftsmanship that goes into the component parts. And really, a lot of that is down to the shafts. So when you see Justin Rose playing out on tour, you will notice that Justin Rose is playing a shaft that nobody else is playing. He is playing a Honma shaft. The other players out on tour, they might be playing Project X or a Mitsubishi or a Fujikura. Justin is playing a Honma shaft because that's what you get fitted for when you go through the Honma fitting process. And the way in which they adjust the heads is slightly different. So you put your hand on the head, they make the adjustments, and you can feel the head moving, but the shaft stays in the same position. And that's very important, and it's important because the spine of the shaft remains exactly where it should be. Now, I'll be honest, it all gets very technical from there. However, I do understand the importance of consistency, and when you get a spec of driver that is kitted out exactly as it should be, as the R&D department want it to be, and as the fitter wants it to be, there is surely a gain to be had for the average golfer. Now, the other thing to say about the shafts is that there's a whole host of different options available to you, but they're slightly different to what you might find elsewhere with other shaft brands on the market. They're very stiff flex shafts, are also very light. Now, that's not what you would find elsewhere. That lightness enables players to keep their club head speed up, but they're also very stiff and sort of controllable for the faster swinger. Again, not something you'll find elsewhere, and it will create a different feel in your hands if you do go through a fitting. My experience, having been through it myself, is that I was really impressed by the way that they performed. So right from the first hit, it felt really consistent, it felt really stable, and I must admit, I've been finding it quite hard to kind of articulate that point. It's just a matter of feel and looking at the ball flight and seeing that kind of consistency of ball flight, the ball getting up in the air and staying in the air on a flight that I felt was both powerful but also controllable. Moving on to the irons, and in the 747 range you have three to choose from. There is firstly the V, which is the most slimline, most blade-like, thinnest top line of the three, should offer fantastic feel and workability and all those good things. Certainly the iron that the better ball striker would be sort of leaning towards. And then you have the VX, so the 747 VX. This has a tungsten weight in the toe that should make it more stable through impact on those slight off-centre hits, but I thought down behind the ball it looked very, very traditional. I really like the look of it behind the ball, but I think higher handicappers might find it a little more intimidating than, for instance, the most game improver-like, the most forgiving of the three irons in the Honma range, and that's the 747P. Now, I've been through the fitting process, and I'm not going to tell you which one I ended up leaning towards. You'll have to wait for our full review video to see what you think. But one thing that I thought was really interesting about these three irons is that they obviously have the same mild steel construction between the three of them, so the feel between all three was very good and very consistent. So if you are somebody that is leaning towards going for a more consistent, more forgiving head, you are going to get fantastic feel from these Honma irons. The other thing to note about them is they're all very sort of quite strong lofted irons, but Honma have done some interesting work with the heads and with the launch angles and with the spin rates to ensure that people get fantastic consistency. So you should find you get a different type of performance to other irons that you find out on the market. Again, I don't want to give too much away. You're going to have to keep your eyes peeled for Joel's review to find out exactly what that relationship is like and what you can expect in terms of consistency into the greens. But from my early testing, the little bit of custom fitting we've just been through, the results were interesting and the level of consistency heading into the greens was really good. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Please do leave comments below. What do you think of the Honma T-World 747 range of woods and irons? We'd be really interested to hear your thoughts. If you've liked the video, please do hit the like button. But for now, from West Hill, it's goodbye.